Welcome back, everybody, to Chase's Sports News. I am your host, Chase Coburn, and we're previewing the MAAC basketball season here ahead of the 2025-26 season here on Chase's Sports News. Today, I'm joined by the head coach of the Iona Gaels men's basketball team, Dan Geriot. Dan, thank you for taking the time here today.
Thank you, Chase. Excited for this. Been missing you since the summertime.
No, for sure. It's great to finally connect again. And we just talked about it before we went on air. It's what a time of year it is, basketball season, whether it's college, whether it's the pros. It's always a lot of fun. Now, I know this is your first time as a collegiate head coach. How are you feeling ahead of that journey this coming year?
Yeah, I'm excited. We have a pretty good group of guys. We feel we put the roster together in a good way for all of them to be their themselves. And that's been critical from the beginning. That's what I am as I coach every day, and I'm comfortable in my own skin there, which has been nice. And I think that's my biggest thing. We're excited to play. We had a couple of scrimmages, but we're excited to get this thing tipped off and play other teams and consistently play other teams.
No, for sure. And then once you get to MAAC play, it's one of the most competitive, conferences to play in. And we're going to get into that in just a minute. But, I'm sure you understand, of course, the expectations, getting a job like this. This is a program that obviously sets a high standard. No team has won more MAAC championships than Iona. They've won 6 of the past 9. And even after making the MAAC championship game last year, they decided to part ways with Tobin Anderson to, leave some space for you here to take over that head coaching role. So how do you really plan to live up to that high standard set for this program, whether that's in year 1 or beyond?
Yeah, I think it's where we meet it with our people. That's a big thing that we really held the line on with the type of humans we brought in, the type of people that I think we're going to be proud of on the floor, off the floor. That was first and foremost what a big part of why I wanted this job were the high expectations and the high standards. I think that's an exciting time for myself to come here. And honestly, with the staff, we retained some guys, and then the staff that we hired, it was critical for where Iona wants to be. And I think that's something that we walk around a lot, and we talk about our foundation of what Iona Gaels basketball is, and a lot of that is how we live it. That's the best thing you hear all the time, and the cliches of culture, environment, and all that. But it's really how you're living every day that we believe our foundation has a chance to really level up here because of that. And then it doesn't hurt that we can dribble, pass, and shoot.
No, for sure. You have to obviously fill all those shoes, and you have to understand, of course, the expectations. And it's such a competitive conference, too. I was just speaking with the MAAC commissioner, Travis Teletasi, the other day, and he brought up how the men's tournament's always wide open every single year. It feels like, Mount St. Mary's last year was a 6th seed, and they, took over the MAAC tournament. So you never know, and it's all about coming up with the biggest plays and the biggest moments. I want to talk about your previous coaching experience. You now come to Iona after you were an assistant for multiple NBA teams in the G League. I know you won a championship with LeBron James in Cleveland as well. So how will your previous NBA experience help you find success here with Iona and here in the MAAC?
Yeah, I think the best way to say it is, one, we've seen a lot of basketball. We've coached a lot of basketball in that experience, 82 games a year, tons of preseason games, tons of practices, and tons of different types of builds. A team that was chasing a championship, a team that was retooling through the draft, a team that was trying to make jumps from play-in to playoffs to home playoff series. I think there's been a lot of different variations of teams I've coached. A lot of head coaches I've worked for as well. So to me, coming in here, it's really about, I evaluated a lot in the summertime, evaluated a lot of our staff as well to make sure when we got back in the fall, we were really attacking this thing in a very detailed manner of where this team in particular, this version of Iona, could actually make our mark, improve our foundation, and really, make it unlimited ceiling. I think that was big for how we built this and
Right.
Our day-to-day. Our environment is very meticulous, and I think it's a lot of our players feel that, and they understand the details, and it's very energetic as well. And that's something we really held the line on as we build it. So I think that's kind of where my experience to me, it's been a huge positive for our environment, because our preparation and the way we go about our process has been pretty pretty unique because it's so team oriented. It's so the whole staff is involved all the way, all the way to video coordinators. We have our own video room. Our grad assistants are getting some player development work and getting some experience that way. So I think it's been really interesting that we're a huge staff. There's a lot of us, and I think that was how we wanted this player development program to work, and that's where kind of I'm coming from.
No, for sure. And I think coming with that extra element of experience, you come with experience that most, if not all, coaches in this conference don't have. And so, that can maybe distinguish Iona from some of the other programs in this conference. Let's talk about those jerseys behind you. I see Larry Nance Jr., I think that is. Is that just kind of a way to – Kevin Love is there? Wow.
Tristan Thompson back there. Yeah. We're working.
Just kind of a way, I guess, to symbolize to the players what you can be after playing under Dan Geriot.
Yeah, and let's hang some more jerseys up there. You know what I mean? Like, we'll hang banners here at Iona. Let's hang some more jerseys up there. And I think it's big because a lot of them have like handwritten messages and all about how, where we're coming from. A lot of the time and energy we've put into each player. That's what we're doing here as well. We have 13 players and 3 walk-ons, and I think they're all feeling how much time and energy and attention they get. That's kind of symbolized with these jerseys, and I always loved like they left Cleveland, so that was like the next jersey that they were at. When I saw them again, that was the one I always wanted, rather than just having a bunch of Cavs jerseys and Pelicans jerseys up here.
No, for sure, yeah, pretty cool as well. Let's talk about real quick this team you built, because it's very different than the team that Iona had last year, obviously, switching head coaches. And this is the 3rd straight year now where Iona's pretty much had a different roster each season. And that's just kind of a byproduct of the new landscape that we have here in college basketball. But, specifically to this team, what do you like about them thus far? What's going to make them a dangerous threat in this conference?
Yeah, I think our physicality and our maturity are really building blocks for where we're headed. Attention to detail has been incredible. It does feel very professional when you come in our building and you see how we work and you see what we do. That's been great for me personally. And then I think on the offensive end, there's a lot of guys that we have. I know a lot of coaches say it, but we have a lot of guys that are multifaceted, and a lot of guys that can dribble and pass. That's a big thing for me. There's different versions of shooting and finishing and what you may see, but a lot of our guys can dribble and pass and are decision makers. We're hoping that gives us a good opportunity and a leg up as we get this thing started.
No, for sure. You need to build a well-rounded team, and, having kind of that different roster, what would maybe be your message to the fans who maybe don't know what's going to happen this year at Iona now with a 3rd straight year with pretty much a brand new team?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is come, as I've said before, come get to know us. We're open. We have open practices. We're open all the time. And that's one thing we've done a great job. Iona's really come out and supported us open practice-wise, even just stopping by when certain people on campus and things like that, poke their head in, meet our guys. That's the best way to get to know them as fast as possible. And the big thing is we have a lot of depth. So we're going to play a lot of guys, and I think that'll be a good thing too, because it's not like you're going to just, see a guy on that you meet, and most of the guys you meet, they're going to play. So I think that's a big thing for where we're headed. And obviously on the other part of it, on the end of this season, we want to retain as much as we can. And a biggest way to do that, our guys know the history and support here. And that's the biggest thing. They want to feel that, and they already have without even playing a game yet. So once the games happen and our guys, start stacking some wins, that's kind of the identity that we want to have here on Iona, is everyone really can mingle off court, have an idea who they're rooting for, and the type of people that are in our program now, they'll be proud of.
I mean, retention is such a key factor in this conference. When I spoke with Commissioner Talatasi, he talked about how from the 23-24 season to 24-25, MAAC had the lowest retention among every single conference in all of college basketball. This past year, they had the 3rd most retention. And so now you have some of these juggernauts from the conference last year in Quinnipiac, Siena, Sacred Heart. I mean, they're returning all MAAC talent and, again, are going to pose a threat. You see this new team here at Iona, they're kind of just looking to gel with each other. How is this team going to be able to compete with some of those other teams who have now had 2-3 years of experience playing with each other?
Yeah, I think that's a big reason I was hired is we need to do it faster. We need to gel faster, and that's something I've been very comfortable with in my experience. I mean, usually it's 6 practices and you're playing. It's like trying to
Right.
get to know new free agents and new personalities quickly. And here I think we've done that. We've meshed the team pretty well. We have them opening up to each other a good amount, kind of creating those relationships. And again, it really comes down to the type of people we recruit, and they're
Right.
very open, they're very comfortable in who they are, and they're very personable. So that helped a lot with where we were headed. It's not just the basketball piece of how to do it faster; it's the whole environment, the staff dynamic, the way guys are communicative with each other and with our staff makes us get to the truth faster. That's what we're hoping to do quickly here. And the good part is the truth is coming. The wins and the losses, they're coming. So how are we reflective of those truths, and then how are we prospering as we continue to go forward?
Right. You're going to learn a lot about this team this year and the makeup of this team. And maybe, if things don't go well, what you need to do next year, or if things do go well, what you need to even build upon even more. And so obviously the first year is kind of like a benchmark, to kind of level set expectations a little bit. So I'm excited to see what, this team is able to achieve this year. You now go from the NBA to college. We've talked about that here. And I mean, we all know that this new landscape of college basketball has changed. I know you were an assistant at the collegiate level about a decade ago, but, since then, now you have the whole NIL movement, the player compensation, the transfer portal rules. How does Iona plan to stay atop of the change and stay competitive in what is really a tough landscape for mid-major programs?
Yeah, no, that's why we hired the first general manager in MAAC history, Craig Moore, and obviously I've known Craig since we were, little kids and teenagers and playing AAU together and stuff. But I think the whole deal is we just see ourselves, and I think a big thing that happens as we continue on is, like in the NBA, it's very hard to be offended when you're a coach. You know what I mean? You can't be offended by what's going on. Those guys are making business decisions and business moves for their family and for their loved ones and for their careers. And on the other end of it, now here I am back in college and in this new landscape. And that's my biggest thing is like we need to make the correct decisions for Iona. We need to make the correct decisions for the players, correct decision for the staffs as well, and their families and their loved ones and how that all goes about it. So for me, that's where I'm at as the head coach. The good part is, general manager wise, we really see it as like an NBA light opportunity. And that's what we've done here, creating different bridges with the NIL landscape and things like that Craig has done a great job of. And I think that's a lot of the conversations that he has, all over campus with alums, networking and things like that. That's a big piece for why I did this, is we have a pretty good model of how to stay ahead of this thing and how to be prepared, I think, for a lot of different avenues that you can go down. Maybe it is high level retention. Maybe it is no retention. Who knows? Maybe it is middle of the road retention. Maybe it's, new rules happen where NCAA does different things, and that's how it looks in 2 years. We're just really, really detailed in our conversations and in our approach. And, where I think I'm coming from, and he was, doing a lot of stuff at USA Basketball and doing a lot of stuff. He had coached at Princeton before as well. Like, he has a really great mind for where this could go, and we're ready for a lot of different avenues is probably the best way I could put it. And that's where I think I love how we're ahead of it. I think I said in my press conference, but like Iona, again, with who we are in this conference and in this mid-major basketball landscape, we deserve it. We deserve to be ahead of the curve. We deserve to have a process that everyone can be positive about and support. And that's why we feel we're off on a good foot, but we want to continue to do that and sustain that for years to come.
What went into the decision to accept the position here at Iona that was open kind of when that whole process was happening? I know it was just kind of a few days. What was really the mindset when you accepted this job?
Yeah, I think I say this a lot, but it really was because it was Iona. Like we lost here when I played when I was at Richmond. We were very good. We came up here and lost, and they were a hell of a team. Machado, Glover, all those guys. But I think for me, just knowing what it was, knowing how much they care about basketball here, really, and the expectations and standards they have, like really excited me. I didn't want to, go 2 feet in and a place, B, how are we doing this? What's going on here? It's like when I realized the alignment we had and the alignment that university has and how ever changing this university is in such a positive way. Our president, Dr. Seamus Carey, has done a great job. Like he changed it from Iona College to Iona University. Like we are so forward thinking and understanding of where even the dynamic of tuition and enrollment is. Like when I was being discussed about it and talking about what the organization and alignment looked like basketball wise, when I realized what the university was doing, it was a no-brainer. And for me and my family, I think, obviously getting in the head coach's chair again was something I was craving and I was excited about doing it. And then understanding it's Iona, the expectations, the tradition, the values of what we're doing as a basketball program and a university. I was like, yeah, I'll walk there from New Orleans. I'll make sure I'm there as fast as possible. So it was an exciting time for sure, but that's kind of what went behind the curtain for me, was really thinking about that and understanding what I was saying yes to.
You were an assistant in college, then you became an assistant at the NBA level, then a head coach at the G League level, and then now you're a head coach at the collegiate level. What really are the differences between college and the pros in terms of being a coach?
Yeah, I mean, I think, different day to day. You're playing so many more games in the NBA. You're really thinking about recovery, and you're thinking about what the right schedule is for your guys in that whole 82 game landscape, all the travel. Here, we've just shifted it to like same idea, development, recovery. Our schedule is super dialed. Like we understand exactly what we're after and how we're doing it. I think here it's about following it. That's the hardest part, I think, in college, is trying to follow that schedule. You have so much practice time. You have so many things you can go over. You have so many different situations that can show up. And then you're only playing 31 games in a regular season. Like a lot of that can happen in a way that makes it where, you might get on we play 7 games in the first 17 days once we get started. It's like you might be on an uptick there. Again, it's not as good as it seems. You might be on a downtick there. It's not as good as it seems. I can bring that from the NBA here. But again, with so much more practice time and things to do, it's really about being efficient with our time and our players' time and our staff's time. And that's been big for me because that's been a lot different. I remember when I was coaching in college, 10 years ago, when I got to the NBA, I was like, oh my God, we never practice, we never do this and that. But it's like, yeah, how do you do it efficiently? How do you continue to like sharpen your knife and get things correct while not, exhausting your environment? That's been a big difference for me.
You mentioned some of those, players that you're really trying to help. And look, this team has high expectations. They were picked 6th in the preseason poll. So, I mean, you guys are going to be right there again. But you did not have any preseason All-MAAC selections. Who are some stars on this team that, you should try to pinpoint that fans should pay attention to this year?
Yeah, it's hard when everyone got retained. It's hard to infiltrate that All-MAAC team.
Right.
When all the All-MAAC players come back, that's difficult. But we think we got a good crew. I think our guards of Denver Anglin, Keyshawn Williams are really they're really critical for where we're headed. They've had really good falls. Cozy Akametu from Santa Clara, I think he's been a very great physical kind of specimen for us and very multifaceted, can do a lot of different things. And then I think an interesting one is like a CJ Anthony, leadership skills and, 4-year player at Cincinnati. And then I love the idea of what he represents kind of for all this in this whole landscape, his toughness, all the things he's been through at Cincinnati. To be able to come here and play in his last year has been great. We can go to have Jungers coming back, obviously being, I think it was top 15 in O rating in the MAAC. It's like, he's out there and able to help and how we're playing with decision-making and spacing. He's really done a great job of helping us and understanding, such a veteran in what we're doing. And then it's same idea. Toby Harris coming from Division III, really exciting time for him as well. And then Lamine Sabali, coming from Incarnate Word, same thing. A lot of those guys are in their 5th year. They're doing a lot of different roles than they were doing before. So we've been excited to put that together. And then, I think Matt Reed and Chase Cormier, that kind of does our mature, senior and juniors as we go into it. So I think that experience and all that experience is helping guys like Khalil Badru and DeAndre Lindsay being able to really understand what competition level means, what the day-to-day looks like as you're trying to build your brand, build your day-to-day of who you're going to be basketball-wise. That's really critical of where we're going. So, the guys I mentioned in the beginning, I think are the ones that I think you'll see first and foremost. And then as we continue to go through, I don't think we have like I said, that's a very depthful team, and we're excited to get out there and see how these lineups look and how we are able to attack this thing.
For sure. You need depth in this conference. It's a very physical conference, one that, according to Commissioner Talatasi, had the slimmest margin of victory in all of college basketball in terms of every conference. So, they're going to be in tight games. We'll certainly look out for some of those stars, as you just mentioned. Coach, this has been pretty awesome. We appreciate you taking the time. What needs to transpire over the next few months for Iona to be back in the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, I think obviously it's always health and is always first and foremost. And I think the other piece of it is I think our guys just really need to continue and understand as we go through these experiences how we're reflecting correctly on what our process looks like to be able to, hopefully win the MAAC, and then obviously in Atlantic City, hopefully take care of business when we need to most.
And it's always so exciting in that MAAC tournament. You just want to give yourself a chance. You want to get in there, be one of the 10 teams, and you never know what's going to happen. Dan Geriot, thank you so much for taking the time here today to help us preview Iona's upcoming season. We appreciate it, and we wish you the best of luck.
Yeah, thanks, Chase. Appreciate the time, man. Thank you so much.
Of course, we're so happy to have you on here today. We're going to wrap it up here from Chase's Sports News alongside the head coach of the Iona Gaels men's basketball team, Dan Geriot. I'm your host, Chase Coburn, saying so long from Chase's Sports News. Take care, everybody.